There is a mineral sitting quietly inside 10 signs your body is begging for magnesium right now. It is not calcium, it is not iron, it is not even vitamin D. And without it, over 300 essential processes inside you begin to silently break down. Most people have no idea this is happening. They blame stress, they blame age, they blame genetics. But researchers at Harvard, the University of Vermont, and multiple European health institutions have started pointing to one deeply overlooked root cause behind dozens of chronic modern symptoms. And the answer is something ancient cultures never ran out of, because they lived in a world that still had it everywhere. What changed? And more importantly, what is your body trying to tell you right now? If any of what you are about to hear sounds familiar, stay with me, because this might be the most important 7 minutes of health information you watch all year. And if it resonates, hit that like button and subscribe to Ancient Health Revival, because this is exactly the kind of forgotten science we dig into every single week. Let us start with something that happened in the 1930s. American soil, on average, had naturally occurring magnesium levels that most modern farms can only dream about. Then came industrial agriculture, synthetic fertilizers, overworked land, and slowly, invisibly, the magnesium began to disappear, not just from the soil, but from the food grown in it. Today, researchers estimate that over 70% of Americans are not getting enough magnesium. 70%. And here's the part that should make you pause. Most of those people have absolutely no idea, because the symptoms look like something else entirely. So, what does magnesium deficiency actually feel like from the inside? Here's where it gets interesting. The first sign is muscle cramps that seem to come from nowhere. You wake up in the middle of the night and your calf is seizing like a vice grip has locked around it. Or maybe your toes curl involuntarily after a long walk. Most people drink more water and assume it is dehydration. But magnesium is the mineral that tells your muscle fibers when to contract and when to release. Without enough of it, that release signal gets delayed. The muscle fires but does not know how to stop. Ancient healers in Greece and Mesopotamia used magnesium-rich seawater baths to treat exactly this kind of spasm. They did not know why it worked, but modern science now does. The second sign is a kind of fatigue that sleep does not fix. You rest for 8 hours and still wake up exhausted, not sleepy, just empty, drained before the day even begins. Here is the biological truth behind that feeling. Magnesium sits at the center of your body's ATP production. ATP is your cellular energy currency. Every single cell in your body runs on it, and magnesium is literally required to activate it. Without adequate magnesium, your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells, cannot produce energy efficiently. You are basically running on a low battery that no amount of caffeine can truly recharge. Most people never realize this until they have spent years chasing a solution that was never the real problem. The third sign is anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, an inexplicable sense of unease, a restlessness that does not match anything happening in your life. Researchers at the University of Leeds found that low magnesium was directly linked to elevated stress hormone activity. Magnesium acts like a natural brake on your nervous system. It regulates GABA, the calming neurotransmitter that tells your brain it is safe to relax. When magnesium drops, that brake weakens. The nervous system stays slightly on edge, and suddenly you feel anxious without a reason. The ancient Egyptians called it an imbalance of the internal fire. Modern neuroscience calls it a disrupted inhibitory response. Both were describing the same thing. The fourth sign is headaches or migraines that return again and again. Studies published in the journal Cephalalgia showed that people who experience chronic migraines consistently have lower magnesium levels in their brain tissue. Magnesium helps regulate blood vessel tension and neurotransmitter release. Without it, blood vessels in the brain can constrict unpredictably. What follows is the pulsing, nauseating, light-sensitive pain that millions of Americans experience every single month, and treat with painkillers instead of addressing the root. And this is where modern health advice got it wrong. We treat the symptom. We never ask why the symptom keeps coming back. The fifth sign is constipation or irregular digestion. Magnesium is what your intestinal muscles use to move food through your body. It draws water into the colon and gently stimulates the muscles of your gut wall. When magnesium runs low, that movement slows. Food sits longer. You feel bloated, sluggish, uncomfortable. Ayurvedic medicine in ancient India used magnesium-rich plants specifically to restore what they called the downward flow, the body's natural rhythm of digestion and elimination. This was not mysticism. This was functional biology that those cultures understood intuitively. The sixth sign is poor sleep quality, specifically the inability to fall into deep, restorative sleep. Magnesium activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of you that physically allows the body to rest. It also regulates melatonin, the hormone that governs your sleep cycle. Without magnesium, melatonin production becomes erratic. You may feel tired but wired. You fall asleep but wake at 3 in the morning with your mind suddenly racing. Blue zones, the regions of the world where people routinely live past 100, share one common dietary trait. Their food is grown in mineral-rich soil and they eat close to the earth. Their magnesium intake is naturally and consistently high. The seventh sign is heart palpitations. That strange fluttering, that odd skipped beat you notice when you are lying still. Your heart is a muscle, and like every other muscle in your body, it depends on magnesium to regulate its electrical signals. Research from the American Journal of Cardiology found that magnesium deficiency is one of the most under-recognized contributors to irregular heartbeat in otherwise healthy adults. Cardiologists in Japan have been adding magnesium assessment to routine heart checkups for decades. American medicine is slowly catching up. The eighth sign is high blood sugar or energy crashes after meals. Magnesium is required for insulin to function properly. When it is deficient, insulin signaling becomes less efficient. Glucose stays in the bloodstream longer. Blood sugar spikes more dramatically. The crash that follows is sharper. People living in the mountains of Sardinia, one of the world's original blue zones, eat a diet naturally high in magnesium-rich legumes, greens, and mineral-dense water. Their insulin sensitivity in old age would make most 40-year-old Americans look metabolically unwell. Have you ever noticed your energy completely collapses after lunch? Tell me in the comments, because that might be something far more specific than most people think. The ninth sign is brain fog. That feeling where you are searching for a word that should be right there, where you read the same sentence twice and it still does not land. Magnesium plays a critical role in synaptic plasticity, the brain's ability to form and strengthen connections. Researchers at MIT discovered in a landmark study that elevating magnesium levels in the brain directly improved both short-term memory and long-term learning capacity in aging subjects. The brain was not aging so much as it was starving for a mineral it had always needed. The 10th sign is sensitivity to noise or light, an unusual irritability towards sensory input that other people seem to handle easily. Loud sounds feel jarring. Bright screens feel harsh. You snap at things that would not have bothered you before. This is your nervous system running without its natural buffer. Magnesium stabilizes nerve membranes. It keeps sensory signals from overloading the system. Without it, your brain essentially turns up the volume on everything and cannot turn it back down. What scientists discovered next surprised even the researchers expecting positive results. When populations were given adequate magnesium over just 8 weeks, sleep improved, anxiety scores dropped, energy levels rose, and markers of cardiovascular stress decreased. Not because magnesium was a drug, because it was something the body already knew how to use. It was simply returning what had always been missing. Ancient cultures never had a word for magnesium deficiency, not because they did not experience it, but because their food systems had not yet stripped it away. They ate close to the earth, drank mineral-rich water, bathed in natural springs, and lived in rhythm with cycles that kept these minerals replenished. We built a modern world and lost something fundamental in the process. The answer was never more complicated than the earth already knew. If this opened something in your thinking, if even 2 or 3 of these signs felt familiar, share this with someone you care about. Subscribe to Ancient Health Revival, because next we are going inside one of history's most forgotten healing traditions and what modern scientists found when they finally looked closely at it.